So thank you all for joining us. Frankly, we used to do weekly webinars, and then along about May, June, we got a lot of feedback that it's a busy time of year for everybody. So while I'd love to attend your webinars, frankly, we're a little bit busy. So we actually will always dial down the webinars occasions that we have them around the June, July period. We're going to start to get back to probably not every week, but at least every few weeks. Primary reason is you may or may not know that we add a lot of features into the platform. Sometimes we do a pretty good job of letting folks know in advance. Frankly, sometimes we don't. So what we're going to do today is go back for the last couple releases and just make sure that folks in this webinar and everybody else, they're aware that we do have some features. As I've said in prior webinars, probably 40–50% of the new features we add, they come from you. They come from you sending us suggestions. Hey, does the platform do this? Hey, it would be really great if, in fact, you took this particular feature and added it. So your feedback is always welcome and helpful to us. In this past year alone, it's getting close to 2,000 features that we've added in the platform since January of this year. So what we're going to cover today real briefly, we've selected what we think are the most recent releases. Features that you probably are not aware exist, but we thought might be helpful if you do know that they do exist. So a very common one we've had over the last year or so, when setting up a Spirit store, I would like to be able to have the individual choose what number they want assigned if I'm offering a number assigned on an item. So we did finally set up, and it's available, the ability to, in Spirit store only, to let the person choose their number and have the number not be available if it's previously selected. So we're going to show you that. We're going to cover for roster stores a few technical advancements we've made. Similar for roster stores, a common question complaint, frankly, we get. Someone has come in from a roster store, they placed an order. It's 6 months later, let's say it's a soccer team, and that person is no longer on the soccer team, but since they placed the order, you couldn't delete that player. So now we have a new tool where you can actually deactivate them. We're going to show you how that works. And a few other things which we'll cover as we go, depending on.
What's that?
Oh, I hear somebody talking.
This is the Spirit Store.
So the first thing we want to show here relates to Spirit stores specifically. Jerry brought this up. So when customers are choosing their numbers in Spirit stores in the past, there was the possibility of having repeat player numbers essentially. So if we go into a product here that has a number, we'll go into this shirt right here. And for this particular shirt, the number 22 was already chosen. So a customer already checked out with the number 22 for this shirt. So if 22 is selected again for this product, then it will actually prevent the customer from being able to add that product with that number into their cart. So if I go to add to cart, you can see we filled out 22 here for add number. You'll see it comes with a pop-up, and it prevents them from actually adding the product to their cart. So it'll say that the player number was already chosen, and that they'll have to select a new number. So if we type in a different number, it'll let them add it to the cart.
So if this is a request that you would have of us, the way we've currently set this up is we'll turn it on. You tell us that you've got a store you want to set up the player selection choice. We'll turn it on for that store for you. Reason for that is, frankly, it's not a common request, and we don't really want to enable a feature that can be confusing to folks. So if you do set up Spirit stores in which you want to prevent someone from selecting, one player selecting the same number from another, reach out to us. With one click, we activate that in your store. The other thing, which we're not showing you, but just to be aware, once I select my number, if I've added 4 or 5 items in the cart that have a number, once I enter that number once, it will auto-populate on the other items that you've set up for that number. Okay? Okay, Daleeb, what's next?
All right, so we're going to skip over to a roster-based store now. Well, actually, this is the invite to a roster-based store. So,
I'll give a quick background. Not everybody on this session knows what a roster store is. So TUO, as you may or may not know, has different store types. What makes TUO unique is the fact that we are the only ones that have a roster feature. So it works for both what we call club and team, the sports side, a soccer club with 1,500 players on it. It also works for corporate apparel stores. If you're not aware of corporate apparel stores, we'd welcome the opportunity to do a separate session with you on it. It's a pretty powerful tool, but basically both are stores that are set up with either a roster or an email list of employees. In that occasion, when you set up the store, everybody gets a personal invite to come in and shop. In the past, that invite would have necessarily included a login and a password, but we made a significant change to the platform back in February where it's now email based. So if there's an email that's associated with a particular player or an employee, that allows us to do some pretty complex technical things. This is one of the technical things that it can do, which is when that email gets sent out and the recipient at that email address opens it up, we know who they are. So there's no more login. So go ahead, Lee, and pick it up from there.
Okay. Yep. So what we're looking at here is a player invite. So you can customize these player invites, but what we really want to highlight here is the fact that it does give the players direct access to the store. So whoever receives the email, they don't even actually have to log in anymore. So the way it works, when they click on this link, it will actually redirect them to the store. They can also click Shop Now down here.
So do it. I want to see how it works.
Yep. So we'll click on this, and it will require no login and take them straight into the store.
So that does, if you do roster stores, reach out to us because we're going to want to work with you. You may not know this, but you can actually customize the email invites that go out. It's a common question we get. We can actually show you how to do that. So the text of the emails that go out, you control. The graphics, you control. So a lot of the folks don't realize that they've got control over the actual content of an email that goes out in an invite. We can actually show you how you can customize your invites.
Let's go into an actual roster for a club store. So when you do have a club store, you can have multiple teams that can support multiple rosters and have managers. So we're going to look into one of these teams, and there's actually a new setting for individuals for when they have played.
So in the past, if somebody, frankly, it's a little bit of a surprise to us. So when someone sets up, let's say, a club roster store or a corporate store with an employee list, our original idea was that as seasons rolled over, they would clone that store, upload a new roster. Frankly, a lot of our clients don't do that. They'll keep that same store open all year, and they'll go in and update the rosters. So that posed a problem. The problem was if someone from the spring came in and placed an order, and then it's now the fall, because that person placed an order in the spring, you were not able to delete their order and their information from the store. So we instituted a simple step in which, since a lot of the roster stores stay open year-round, a simple step to go in. So go ahead, Lee, take it from there now that you're on the screen.
Yeah, so we are viewing the roster for this particular team. And you'll notice to the right of players that do have orders placed towards them that we have this deactivate player option. So instead of being able to delete a player, since there's ordered data tied to this player, we can't actually delete them, but we can send them to kind of a separate area where it not only removes them from view from the roster, but it'll also remove their information from reports. So you don't have to worry about the reporting information, kind of getting contaminated with, details you don't need. So if we click deactivate player, it'll give you this pop-up, and it'll let you know basically what will happen. Pretty much, this player can no longer, place orders moving forward. They can't log in, and any information, related to their order will not show up in reports. Is pretty much what you need to know here. So if we click OK, they'll actually go to the deactivated players section. So if we click up here at the top right, we can view the deactivated players. And we can see that we can also reactivate them from there.
So go back to the dashboard again, just to make sure everyone's aware. So at the very top, Ashley Brown's order, you'll see that Ashley never logged in, never placed an order. So if in fact Ashley's no longer on the team because she did not place an order, you can actually go ahead and just delete that player. So delete takes out somebody who's on a roster or a corporate store that is not logged in and ordered. Deactivate takes away somebody who has already ordered.
Okay, so let's go kind of further into the player kind of settings here. So as players are kind of performing actions, player accounts, whether it's logging in, whether it's them placing an order, you do have visibility of what they've done previously. So you can go into player details for any one player, and you can kind of see their history. So if we go to player details, you're actually able to see their activity from here at the bottom. You can see when they were actually created, when they logged in, and when they placed their order. Information such as that.
So go back to the dash. You'll notice an icon. Just going to make everybody aware. Common question we get on roster stores, common complaint. We had one about a month ago in which the person claimed that 100% of the folks on the roster did not receive their invites. Keep in mind, we have very detailed analytics, especially on email actions. So what you're looking at is actually a view that we have access to. If this is something, if you do a lot of roster stores and you think this would be helpful for you to see, it's not currently activated so you can see it. Frankly, again, because we don't want to complicate lives, we want to make it simpler. But the icons that you see of the envelope, we have very detailed analytics on whether somebody opened, whether an email was bounced, when the open date occurred, etc. So again, in the particular instance I talked about, someone said not one person received an invite. We were able to go in and actually log in and see not only did everyone receive their invite, 70% had opened the invite, but there were 3 bounces. So we were able to direct the client to the individuals where the invites were bounced. So keep in mind, we keep very detailed analytics on email invites that are sent out. There are occasions, especially with corporate stores, we have no control when an email is sent from us, whether it's actually received on the other end. Nobody that uses emails do. Firewalls and corporations, spam filters, etc. So you will likely run into a situation, usually it's a very tiny percent, in which the individual email is not being received. In that case, you can get an alternative email or figure out a different way to get the link to the individual.
Yeah. So here I've actually searched, and this one you can see that it was red. So information like that is.
What time?
And yeah, the specific date and time is there.
5:52.
So we're going to actually move into the catalog now. So where all the products are listed. Okay, good. All right. So if we go into edit a catalog, or when we're creating a catalog, there is going to be a new option. And what this will allow you to do is give the ability for customers to order multiples of any one item within the package. So if I scroll down here, right here you'll see to the right of the items that are listed, whether or not you want to allow individual purchases of, oh sorry, this is actually a separate thing, but this is important too. If you want to allow individual purchases, this is the a la carte option. Instead of clicking make active for every individual item, you can just do it from here. And,
so explain what that does. That creates that item as an additional optional item in the store, right?
Right, that's correct. So yeah, if you want to do a la carte, you can just check from here within the package instead of, waiting on the page to load, clicking active for each product, or show product for each one. So let's continue on here. So this is what we were actually referring to, where it says enable individual items and packages to be ordered in multiple quantities. So if we say yes to this, then customers will actually show this on the storefront as well. So I'll update this. You have that include an additional fee. Okay. Okay. So now if we view this package, what's going to happen is that customers can select multiple quantities of any given item within the package. So let's go to this package. And you'll see right here, item quantity, we can select multiple now. And it's up to you whether or not you want it to upcharge.
So as long as we're on this topic, I just want to make everyone aware as well. Quite a while ago, we expanded the package options. So besides what Lee just shared with you, you can actually, if for example, you're going to upcharge for personalization on the items in a package, you can now set up the package where the upcharge price for personalization will be more in the package if you want. Similarly to large sizes, a lot of folks add an extra $2, $3, $5 for larger sizes. You can set up the items in any package where if you are upcharging for larger sizes and the person selects larger sizes of the package, that too will automatically increase the price of the package the way you set it up. So a lot more powerful, flexible features with packages. Again, don't want to assume that anybody knows that you can even do that. For those that do a lot of packages. Okay.
Okay, another new feature. We're going to actually show this on the storefront first. Is the ability to change the font style. And this is specifically for the Design 2 template for stores. So you'll notice the font is a little bit different here. So you're able to actually select from a
I don't know
list
that it's
of,
different. I haven't
fonts.
seen an alternative.
Yeah, so based on viewing previous stores, it is different. We could show kind of what the original looks like, but I'll switch over to another store so that we can see that the font can change. It's technically the same, it's a clone version of the previous store, but just to show the font difference. And so if we actually want to change the font, we just go to store settings. So for whichever store, within the store settings, below your Design 2 option, down here you'll see text font. And you just click right here. It'll open up the drop down, and you're able to select the font you want to use from there.
So just an uninteresting point on that, and I purposely use that word. A lot of folks, we get a lot of questions about into particular fonts. We all know how frustrating fonts can be, not only in Office products, but et cetera, how difficult they are. So what you're looking at is actually what are called web safe fonts. These fonts are pretty much web standard fonts. We use the Google Font Library. So when you select a particular font in a store, it's going to look exactly like that font, no matter where you place it on the World Wide Internet web. So there are things called web safe fonts. These are this menu, which will continue to expand, contains a lot of what are called web safe fonts. Do one, just like do a funky one so we can see what it does.
Sure, we'll do this one.
What is that?
Yeah, I can't even read what that is, but
I think it's a dirty word in Russian.
Yeah, it's some crazy newspaper font or something. But yeah, so you'll see it shows you in the preview to the right the font update kind of in real time, so you can see what that'll look like.
So Lee, go back. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Go back to that Adidas store. As long as we're talking about store designs, I just want folks to be aware as well. The style sheets, that's a term we use when developing layouts for stores. The style sheets in Design 2 are purposely very flexible, very dynamic. Anybody who actually knows HTML code can do a lot of very interesting things with the store designs. But I just also wanted to remind, if in fact you do come across an occasion and it's happening more, if you ever want to put a video in a store, it's very easy to do. So we do enable you not only to put videos in the store built bulletins, as this example for one of the stores we set up for a Georgia Tech store, but also you can also place videos next to products. So if you really want to push the limits and start to come up with dynamic store designs, reach back out to us. We'd be happy to actually show you how or even do it for you. Set up some pretty dynamic stores. We had a client a couple weeks ago that was setting up 4 or 5 fundraiser stores, and they had some literally tear-jerk videos for the fundraising cause. So we worked with them to set up the store templates and get those videos in the store, the video that was promoting the cause. All right, what's next?
Okay, so let's go to the Google Analytics side of it. So yeah,
that?
I know, what a crazy word.
What's that?
But Yeah.
All right.
So
So
I'm
give me.
gonna
I'll
go
give
ahead.
you. I'll give you a background. Actually, give me a screen share.
Yep, I'll do that.
Actually, no.
I was going to intro it in the My Account section.
So I'll give background while Leah is actually logging in.
Yeah.
Common question we get. Does TUO allow me to do analytics on my stores? Abandoned shopping carts, number of visitors versus those that actually checked out. A very common question. And actually, it's a good question, too. So, frankly, for many, many years, we've done that on our end with our platform. And you can do that. So here's the way it works. If anybody does, in fact, want to set up stores moving forward and be able to attach analytics to them, to any individual store, the problem is that there's no analytics tool to use. Google Analytics is certainly the default tool for any website traffic, be it an online store or website, right? So we've been working on this and actually playing with this for about a year and a half. Have perfected it, I will say. But here's the huge caveat. A, it's not for everybody. So if you really do a lot of stores and you really are going to use analytics, dive in, how many folks visited the store, etc. We can work with you, but we're not Google Analytics experts, but we can work with you to get your own Google Analytics account set up. So that's step one that's very important. We're not going to be able to do it for everybody. Every time we introduce a new integration tool like a ShipStation or a UPS, we get a lot of folks that reach out to us asking us as if we're experts on using the software that we're integrating with. While we do know analytics very well, it's pretty complicated. I'll just say it up front. So if down the road this is something that you say, you know what, I've got a lot of stores I'm setting up, I want to work with the TUO team to set up an analytics account, you've got to set up the account on your end first. So what Lee's going to show you is once you do that, you can actually link your analytics account to your stores, to your account. So that's actually what Lee is going to show you right now.
Yep. So it is from the My Account section that you're able to actually get your Google Analytics linked up. And you'll see right here, update Google Analytics key. So this is where you need to put in the tracking ID to link it. I'm going to stop screen share now.
So,
and let you take over.
Before you do that, notice that there are specific instructions on how to set it up, and that's where it does get complicated. We'll work with you. However, like I said, this is a beta, and it's a beta not because the tool doesn't work. It's a beta because we're looking for 3, 4, 5 folks to truly and sincerely say, you know what, I want to start to go deeper on the analytics for my stores, including some of the variables I mentioned, how many folks visited, page views, etc. So what we're going to do, Lee's going to switch screen share. I'm just going to actually, I've logged into our analytics account, and I'm just going to give you a real simple, just things you can do. So those of you that don't know a lot about Google Analytics, it's kind of a scary tool. Literally, virtually everything you want to track, you can track. So we have multiple Google Analytics trackers that we use. This happens to be one of the production websites we have. So we constantly log in on a daily basis, and we're constantly monitoring things like real-time traffic, sales through the platform during a given time. And you could even get into some very detailed audience analytics, demographics, location, geo, devices that they use, percent that are actually accessing via mobile devices. So the analytics tool is an incredibly powerful tool. However, it's not for everybody. So just be aware, it's another one of those features where you're not going to see it in your account. You're going to reach out to us and say, you know what, something I think I would like to mess around with. We'll put you through some tough questions first to make sure it's a tool that you would use, because there's a lot to it. But if down the road you see that you're going to start to set up a lot of stores, this would be a pretty good tool to set up so that you can actually monitor significantly more information on your store's performances. One of the questions, I won't identify who the person is there a template for roster stores that we can use to make data entry easier? If you're not aware, embedded in your account, you can actually download a sample roster. So we'll reach out to you after this session and make sure you know where and how you can do that. Frankly, for those of our clients that do a lot of roster stores, what they do is they take our sample template. We have two. One is at the team level and one is at the club level. They take the template, they send it to their client, and they have their client complete the information in the template that's needed. That saves a ton of time for everybody.
All right, so top right of your dashboard, we'll click on TO Connect. And yeah, from here, you can see 888 number that you can call, fill out the form if you have a quick question, schedule a session from here as well, and then access to the video